Welcome back. Hope y'all are having a great day. This is going to be the end of our tractor series, and this is the last piece of the puzzle, the bucket. We got to cut the brackets off that were pinned to the loader and weld our hooks on there. And that's pretty much it. And we'll be done working on the tractor, at least for now. If you remember last week, we weighed all of this stuff. We talked a little bit about capacities and things like that. And we're going to test it out. We're going to test out the capacity of our boom and the tractor and make sure that boom's going to hold up. So stick around to the end to see that. That should be interesting. We're going to get going on this bucket, get the hooks on it so we can use it. So here's what we got. This is all the bracketry on the bucket where it pinned up originally, the loader arm. We're just going to wash it all off with a torch, clean it up, and weld our hooks on here and here. And this will all be gone. Probably cut this old bent up piece off of there. Not going to need it. Just overall clean it up. And I was originally going to just rattle can some yellow back on this thing, but I got quite a bit of gray left over from painting all the other stuff, so I figured heck with it. Might as well go big or go home, right? So we'll just go ahead and blast the whole thing, repaint it so it's nice and new looking to go with everything else. It makes sense to me. So let's get going. All right, she should be ready to come off of there. There we go. Go. All the brackets are cut off. I'm gonna just knock all the big stuff off. I'm gonna put a wash tip in, or gouging tip, whatever you like to call it. And I'll just wash this weld and what's left of the brackets down as close as I can without gouging the bucket all up. Then we'll start grinding. We're giving this thing a good once over with a hard wheel. And I just wanted to show you guys. Went ahead and opened this up where this bar across this seam, it didn't get welded here because the bar was obviously tacked in here before any of this got welded. So open that up real good so I can get some weld in there on all of them. And our hooks are going to land right here, which is going to be a little bit messed up because I didn't want to cut all this weld off of this reinforcement plate. So I got kind of a ridge here. Kind of hard to see, but it's a good 1/8 of an inch or so. So we're going to have to notch our hook out to go over this, which we'd have to do that anyway, whether this ridge was here or not. And then it'll have to be notched out again for this reinforcement. So it's going to be kind of a mess, but hopefully we can get it to fit up decent. This bucket's in a little bit worse shape than I even realized. You can't tell with all those plates in there, but when you take them out and you can actually look across this thing, it's pretty humpity bumpity. It's got big old humps in between all the bars. There's a big old dent right here. Well, it's dented from the inside. So yeah, pretty bad shape, but we'll make it work one way or another. We're gonna get after this with a sanding disc now and get this last little bit cleaned up, slick it off, and then we can deal with those hooks. All right, so we made it all the way around this thing with a sanding pad. It was not easy to clean up. All these dents and humps and bumps and valleys. So it didn't turn out very good, but just gonna have to call it as good as it's gonna get. There's not a whole lot we can do about that. But there is one issue that we can do something about. So our hooks are gonna land right on the edge of these reinforcement pads. But there's a leftover strip from the bracket still on each side. And if you look where it's sanded down flat, you can see the separation line coming up. That's a little bit of sand and dust stuck, but it's helping, I think, see what's going on here. So I think what we're going to do is on the outside, just wash this piece off of here, get rid of it, and then weld the reinforcement to the bucket. But on the inside, where we need this extra width, I think the best thing to do is something like this. We just ran a grinding disc down that line and put a bevel in it. This way we can weld the leftover strip from the bracket to this reinforcement, and that'll keep our width, and we can grind that back flat. Everything will be perfect. So that's where we're at. Gonna get this welded up, get these washed off and welded up, and we can weld up our little holes here from where that bracket was. It wasn't welded behind it. So got a bunch of those to fix up. And then I think we'll be ready for hooks. Well, that's pretty much where it needs to be. When I made the template for this thing, I didn't account for those reinforcement plates. So we got a good sized gap here. So I'm gonna have to notch this to fit this contour better. Put a notch in it to go around that around this reinforcement plate, and this one down here as well. And notching this. Probably going to lose a bunch of that on the bottom, but that's all right. Trim it up, clean it up, see if we can get it to fit right. Okay, a little more trimming. That ought to get us pretty close right there. Yep, I think we can work with that. Not perfect by any means, but all things considered, it's not too bad. So I'll go ahead and clean up that cut a little bit and get the other one ready and get them tacked up. All right, we got the hooks pinned up here, nice and tight. So just like the forks and the boom, I think I'm gonna go ahead and weld these little blocks here that line up the pin. I'll just tack both of those on there, and we'll try to get it right next to where it goes. We can move the bucket around on that stand and get it lined up just right, and then we'll tack the hooks. Then we'll pull the pins and get the coupler out of the way, and we'll get them welded on there. There we go. Well, they're tacked up. This one fit up pretty good. There's very little gap anywhere on it. The other one, not so much. It's almost like the bucket's twisted, or maybe this section is dented in a lot worse. You can see there's a big old hump right here, and then it's a big dip. So, I don't know. I mean, obviously the bucket's pretty well beat up, but this is not what I was hoping for. That's probably 3/8 of an inch. It's a pretty hefty gap. So, got some welding to do, but at least they're on there. It's gonna work, just take a minute. So, we'll get to welding. Just gonna get some tacks opposite each other on both of them. Try to keep them from pulling one way or the other. I should have welded those blocks first. Can't get in there. Have to use low high or something. One down, one to go. Of course, this was the easy one. It welded pretty good. Went ahead and split it, put two beads down here. It kind of turns into an edge weld. Just kind of got weird where that reinforcement plate is. Came out pretty good. Over here, I think I'm gonna have to go to the low hydrogen, stick it up in there and weld that. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to get anything on the back of that block. I think I should have welded that first. Hindsight's 20/20, huh? There's a look at this side. Coming out pretty good. This whole road plate don't weld particularly well, but it's not too bad. Moving along. Time to tackle this monster of a gap. Loads of fun. That's it for the MIG welding. All we got left is to string out the stick machine and get these little spots that are left right back behind that deal, that block. Get that one over there and get this one right here. And we'll be done welding on this thing. It'll be time for a little sandblast and paint. All right, so our bucket's all welded out now. Got that big old gap filled up, welded up. Got behind our little blocks here. Kind of hard to see in there, but. So the hooks are all done. Oh yeah, we got our reinforcement on. So now we can, well, first of all, hook up to this thing, make sure we didn't draw these hooks out of alignment with all the welding we did on these gaps. But we can take it out there and get ready to do some sandblasting, get some paint laid down on this thing. Try a little Black Beauty this time. Got a sample from the getting place. Try it out. Alright, well I got her back in the shop, all blasted up, looking pretty good. Quite a bit of pitting in here. Took a heaping pile of sand to get all them pits cleaned out, but she's clean now, ready for some paint. So I'm gonna mix up some epoxy, let it incubate, as Bub would say. If any of you are wondering where he's at, he had to work. Yeah, I know, it's lame, but somebody's got to. So I'm gonna get this epoxy mixed up, let it incubate about 30 minutes, then we'll start spraying. Just a little bit of gray left, a little bit of black left. We'll mix up what we got, run out of gray, we'll shoot some black. It's all the same thing anyway, just a different color. But we'll see. Yep, not very much. All right, well, it's been 30 minutes. Our epoxy's had plenty of time to get comfortable with the idea of being sprayed. So, give it a quick stir. Turn the fan on. Start squirting. Got our first coat of epoxy on. Looks like our paint's gonna hold out. We'll have plenty for 2 coats. So, looking pretty good. You can really see all the humps and bumps now that it's got some paint on it. So it ain't gonna look like new by any stretch of the imagination, but it'll look a whole lot better than it did, I think. So we'll let that sit for an hour, come back, spray our second coat, and then that'll be it. I think 2 coats will be enough. Second coat's on. Had more than enough epoxy to do the job, fortunately. So we are done with the primer. Let it sit overnight. And come in and hit it with the gray. So I'll see y'all in the morning. All right, so our epoxy cured overnight. I hit it with a tech rag real quick to get the dust off of it that settled overnight. So I'm gonna mix up some gray, some of our Hitachi gray, and probably give it 2 coats of this stuff too, and we'll call that good. So I'm gonna get it mixed up and start shooting.
All right, folks, in true bruised and burnt fashion, can't do a project without some good testing. So
Extreme even.
yeah, we like extreme testing. So we were trying to scratch our head, come up with some way to test our attachments to ensure that we can lift and they'll hold together past the capacity of the machine. So what we come up with, pretty rudimentary, but we got this here stump. We got our handy dandy load scale. So we're gonna wrap a strap around this thing and see what we can come up with. See what kind of weight we can generate. So main goal is that the boom outperforms the machine, which I don't think will be a problem, but you never know. So that's kind of what we got up our sleeves here.
We can find out what the capacity of the machine is too.
Yeah.
We'll know what we can pick up, what we can't.
Yep.
So let's get to it.
Yeah, let's give it a shot, see what we got here.
Wonder if this thing's still charged. It's a good sign.
99% battery.
Yeah, so our first test, I guess will just be the way the boom would be configured most of the time. See if the boom's gonna hold up, what can pick up. I guess we can slide the boom out. It's 2-foot extension. Make sure we can't bend it with the tractor, and then see what our capacity will be there. Then we can slide it, we can move our shackle back to this back hook and find out what the tractor can do. Be hilarious if that stump just pulls right out of the ground.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening. All right, here we go. $28. 42. 4184. So 4184. That's actually pretty good considering.
Yeah.
The weight of the coupler and the boom.
I don't guess anything's bending, huh?
No, nothing's bending.
Okay.
Yeah, everything's still perfect.
I guess next thing we can do is pull the pin, slide it out, and see if we can bend it that way.
Yeah. All right, so we got our jib extended out. It's a 2-foot extension. Got her pinned in. Let's see if we can bend something. All right, here we go. 2-foot extension. $2,400. 2492. 25, 28, 3,000. 31. 3106 is what we hit. And doesn't look like it bent any. So I think it's pretty safe to say that we've accomplished our goal with the lifting arm.
Did it bend?
Don't look like it. At 3,100 pounds.
That ain't bad.
Yep, I'd call it a success.
Now we can move the shackle and see what we get back here.
Yeah. So now we're going to take and move the shackle back here to this eye. See if we can get some more out of it. I don't think we're going to have to worry about anything bending there, but we'll see if we can get some more lifting capacity. All right, so we're set up at our closest lifting point, closest to the coupler. Got everything rigged up again, got our scale on there. See what we get. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 35, 36, 3650. 3650 with the loader arms. 5,054, 56. Pretty dang good. So got 55 the second time. That's when you know there's a lot of counterweight on the back of that machine. You get that much weight picking up and the machine doesn't even budge. Got 56 the first time, 55 the second time.
Not too shabby. Well, we didn't bend anything.
Nope.
Now we know exactly what we can pick up. Got to be happy with that.
Yeah.
That's not too bad for a $200 scale too.
Nope. Yeah, I was kind of expecting it to like fly apart.
Yeah.
Springs hit me in the face and all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
All right, guys, another project in the books. I think you can call it a success. So now we've all seen together what this thing's capable of. It'll definitely handle the weight that we're going to need to lift as much as the machine can handle. So we're good on that side of it. But I think that's going to do it for this episode. If you liked it, hit that like button. If you're not a subscriber, we'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to go in the comments and type subscribe. That way you're entered into our monthly giveaways. This month we're giving away an assortment of Klein tools. There'll be a link in the description if you want to check that out. But that's going to do it for this one. We appreciate y'all watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.